What's up guys, it's Nicole, also known as Nikki Vegan, and today I'm going to be giving you a kitchen tour of my Los Angeles studio apartment. This is kind of more of a kitchen area rather than an actual kitchen, but I thought I would show it to you and help give you guys some good ideas for small kitchen storage, and also show you how I've decorated and how I keep my pantry fully stocked, because I really do think that that is the key to eating healthy when you're busy. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's take a look around. So now we're in the dining nook area, dining room area, if you will. There's a window right here, so it gets some natural light, and this is actually the white table that I use to film all of my videos, and this is the backdrop that you guys have probably seen a couple of times. It's where I do a lot of work, even though I have a desk over there in the other room, but I like to have my breakfast here, I have my dinners here sometimes. It's a very cozy little spot, and I spend, I think, the most time right here more than any other spot in my whole apartment. So I have this background that I got from Target. The shelves are from Target. I put them in so they're not 100% straight, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I think they're cute, and I'll show you how I've decorated them. Okay, so over here you can see some of the decor that I've gone with. I get a lot of these containers and jars from places like Marshall's and Ross. They're so much cheaper than even places like Target sometimes. They're usually like half the price. So I get things like that, and then I like to store dried goods as decor. So things that are kind of kitchen related, like dried beans or brown rice or, you know, flour, sugar, whatever it is, you can go ahead and store those as decor, and I think it adds a really cute kind of homey touch. I also have some art in here. This is a photo that I took on my iPhone, and I really love having personalized art around the house. I think it's nice to go out and buy art obviously sometimes, but I think it's really cool if you just take your own photos, and that way it feels even more customized. I remember where I was when I took that picture, what I was doing, you know. I like stuff like that. I like that personal touch. For Christmas last year, my friend printed out my ebook, which I thought was so sweet. I actually don't recommend printing it out because it is formatted for an ebook, so it's better on your phone or on the computer, but it is pretty cool to see it printed out, and I love having it on the shelf behind me, especially since I created all of the recipes right here in this kitchen, and even things like the photos. I took every single photo, I edited every photo, and I figured out where they go on the page, and you know, how the colors work. And I wrote, you know, the whole beginning part, which is like my vegan story and a little bit about my eating disorder. All of that I wrote right here in this kitchen at this kitchen table. So many late nights, so many big messes, and it all happened in this kitchen. So I think it's really special to have this right there on the shelf. The second half of the kitchen is where my refrigerator is. I have to admit it's in kind of an awkward place, but I appreciate that I have it, so I just try to make it as cute as possible. I have a calendar here, which actually this month I've been so bad about writing in. I normally have it like totally colorful and jam-packed with things. This month I was like, I just can't. I didn't feel like it, but that's where I keep it. That's where I always have it. And then above it, I have a light and some cookbooks just to kind of decorate it a little bit. It looks very sterile and bare if there's nothing up there. So I like to use that as an extra little area for decorations. Look for creative ways to decorate and creative spaces to decorate. You know, in a studio apartment, things don't always necessarily look the way they look on Pinterest. You know, you don't have this idyllic big space that have these perfect places for you to add decor, but you can find places to decorate, like the top of your refrigerator. Over here, I have a built-in bar where I keep some of my favorite cookbooks and also my daily multivitamin that I take every day, and this little container of beans, one because it's cute and also kind of holds the books in place. Underneath here there is space to have a little bar with some shelves, but what I use it for is to store my wine glasses, which are a little bit taller, and also things like old candles. I clean them out and I use the containers to help me with storage. Whenever you're organizing things in your kitchen, you can use kitchen related items to store things. So for example, I have to have a place for my pans, right? So I have this little casserole dish that I have to store somewhere. Might as well put something in it so that I'm using it in two different ways. I have a home for it, but also it's kind of corralling some of the looser things in my pantry. Same thing with those candle holders. Coffee cups also, if you have an area where you like to write things, you can keep pens in there, or you can keep your spoons and your spatulas, anything like that. You can corral them in a cute coffee cup or a cute glass. I actually keep my straws in the pantry. I keep them all in a water glass because I have to keep the water glass somewhere. I might as well use it to keep all of my reusable straws. There's this sort of long passageway that contains my sink and my oven and all of my storage. So let's go look. Now we are in one of my favorite parts of the kitchen, which is the cupboard. This is my kind of dry pantry where I keep all of my favorite things. And if you've ever been to LA, you'll recognize these types of cabinets that they usually paint white every time a new tenant moves in. And they tend to stick and make that noise. And they're very hard to clean. Welcome to Hollywood, people. But this is my favorite part of the kitchen because I know that if I have a well-stocked kitchen, it is so much easier for me to eat healthy. All I really do on a week-to-week basis is change out my fresh ingredients, like my fresh produce and things like almond milk. But because I have this well-stocked, I know that I can make so many different types of dishes. And especially when I'm busy, knowing that I have some of these staples on hand really makes life so much easier. So things that I keep on hand generally are things like chickpeas. I pretty much always have some canned tomatoes, a bunch of my favorite spices, things like cumin, cinnamon, rosemary, salt and pepper, of course. For those of you who also have a small kitchen, I think one of the most important things you can do is designate a home for everything. And I know that sounds really type A, and I promise it doesn't have to be super meticulous or labeled. As you can see, I don't have a lot of jars. I don't have a lot of the typical Pinterest type of organization, but to me it all makes sense and it's perfectly organized. So for example, I could reach into my cupboard right now and pull out nutritional yeast without even really looking. I know that it's always right here. For example, my oats are always in this back corner here. I've always got my nut butters here. My teas are on this corner. Like, it all makes sense to me, and I think that's really, really important. And I have that for everything in my apartment. So because it is a small apartment, I live in a studio. So if I need to find my keys, I know that they're always in the same place. If I need to find, a pair of scissors, they're always in that drawer. And when I take them out, I just make sure to put them back. It makes such a big difference. It does require, a little bit of effort, but after a while it becomes second nature, and it actually makes cleaning up a lot faster too. I'm shaking the, hey. Some staples that I always have on hand are chickpeas or some kind of canned beans. This way I can make things like hummus, I can make veggie burgers, I can make tacos. There's so many different things that you can do with this. I make a black bean dip by mixing together pico de gallo, like store-bought pico de gallo or salsa, and black beans, blend it on up, add some salt and pepper, boom. Really delicious black bean dip for those of you who don't like to eat black beans. I don't know how this turned into a recipe video, but there you go. Right below this, I have all of my jars. I actually keep all of my snack bars. Right now I have the Orgain ones, but I switch them out all the time. Small things like bars, if they're not corralled in some type of container, can actually totally get lost in the back of a pantry. So I like to keep them in something like this and also keep them out if I know I use them often. In all of my cupboards, I store the things that I use the least often up high and the things that I use the most often right at eyesight. I pretty much know that I'm going to use oatmeal every day. I'm going to use, my salt and pepper and a lot of my spices every day. And I use canned items quite a bit. I use those a lot, so I have them there. I also have my teas and, some of my snackier foods that are healthy. I have them up here. But at the very top, I have little things like, essential oils that sometimes I use for cooking, sometimes I use for cleaning, sometimes I use for beauty, but I keep them up here. I also keep some of my travel snacks up at the very top just because I don't use them on a daily basis, so they don't need to be taking up valuable space on my everyday shelf. You have to prioritize what's important to you and keep that accessible, because then you're actually going to use it. We're not trying to start a museum of canned goods in here. We want to have things that we actually use a lot and that are accessible, that make our lives easier, because that's the whole point, right? We want to be able to grab and go and have things readily available and get the things that you don't need on a daily basis up and out of the way. Right now I do have some overhead lighting, and I use a natural bulb in here so that if I do have to film stuff on the stove, my camera actually picks it up and it's a lot easier to see the true color of what I'm cooking. But normally I keep the overhead lights off because I find that it is so much cozier if you have lamp and candlelight even in places like your kitchen. I know that that's normally something that's reserved for bathrooms or bedrooms, but I do find that if you have a space for a lamp in your kitchen, you would be shocked at how cozy and inviting it can be, especially in the morning or at night. I love when I come home from work and I've finished cleaning the kitchen, I'm ready for bed, I put the lamp light on, and it just creates this kind of warm glow that feels very cozy, and especially if everything's put away and clean, it just is like a really nice grounding kind of feeling. I don't know, I love that. It kind of reminds me of when I was a kid and the kitchen would be clean and we would have everything dark in there except the microwave light would be on over the stove, and that was just like a very cozy nighttime feeling. Kind of gives me that same vibe. Welcome to my very weird sink. So above my sink there is actually a mirror. It's kind of cute and old-fashioned. Then I have some little decor things here. I like to decorate in the kitchen with things that you actually use. So like dry pasta in a mason jar. It makes it look cute, but it also is functional. I also have this weird little guy that I got from Dave & Buster's with my friend Sarah a long time ago. Makes me laugh. His tongue fell off. I don't know how. Got a little picture from my friend's 30th birthday when we were in New Orleans. I do also have some face washes here. The reason for that is because my kitchen sink is bigger and it's higher up. I'm quite tall, so I like washing my face in the kitchen sink. Is that weird? Okay, over here I have my coffee cups. I love coffee cups so much, so I have a very random selection. Actually, all of the dishes and cups that I have don't match. Like, you know how people, normal people I assume, go to the store and they buy like a set of plates, or they have like 4 to 6 to 12 coffee cups, you know? I don't have that. One, because I have a very small apartment, and two, because as a recipe creator, you're constantly taking photos and you want there to be variety in the photos. So I have so many mismatched plates and dishware. I do try to keep things relatively the same size, or at least buy things in twos so that I have something matching if I have people over. So there's some kind of method to my madness, but for the most part, really nothing matches, and it's kind of fun. It's more, we'll call it whimsical. Over here I have a drying rack for my dishes. I keep my cutting boards over here. All of my baking necessities are on this side. Up here I have some pretty baskets that are not just decor, but they also help store things like paper towels. On this side is paper towels, and on this side it is reusable bags, and also like if I get paper bags and stuff like that. And then this is where I keep the trash and the recycling. And actually, as you can tell, that's a very small cupboard to keep the trash in. But for one, having it in a cupboard helps minimize smell, and also because it is small, it ensures that I take it out very, very regularly. Before filming this video, I asked on my Instagram if any of you have any questions about having a small space or how I keep things in my kitchen, and Tiffany actually asked me, Tiffany, cute name by the way, Tiffany asked me what my favorite everyday appliances are. So I thought that was a really good question because I didn't even have to think twice about it. My top two were my coffee maker, so important, and my blender. This one. I use this every day. I used it yesterday to make sauces. I use it to make hummus. I use it to make all kinds of salad dressings, my soups, my like macaroni and cheese recipe sauce, everything I make in here. And it is the Nutribullet Pro. You can get the regular Nutribullet and it's good too, but the Pro is even a little bit stronger. And I've had this for a few years now and I use it every day. It's so strong and it's perfect for a small kitchen because it's quite compact. I also have this mini food processor. I know a lot of people like to make hummus in food processors. I actually prefer to make it in the Nutribullet because I like it when it's silky, silky smooth, and it does a really good job. This does a great job of chopping vegetables. I got it on sale at Target for $17. I think it's normally only $20. My oven is opposite of my sink and it is quite old, but it does a good job. It's a electric stove and I only really just keep a towel in the front of it to dry off my hands when I need to, and I also keep this little thing of salt on top of it sometimes. Over here I have my little coffee cart station. I have my microwave and some storage for some larger platters that don't fit in my regular cupboard. I try to keep it really cute. I have this little coffee basket next to it where I keep my coffee. I also keep a little mason jar with a spoon so that every morning I can just easily make my coffee. I also have some little tea bags you know, that I use often. So it's all together in one area in my little basket. So over here I have some sentimental things. I have this little chalkboard thing that I think I got from Target. I think it's from the Nate Berkus section, like the office section. And this is a card from my mom, a little post-it note from my mom because sometimes she sends me packages. And then these are some photos from when my sister was visiting me. We went to Mohawk Bend and we did one of those photo things. So keep that there. I just think it's sweet. And especially in the morning when I'm making my coffee, you know, it's just nice to have that there. All right, so I had to stop filming there because I had to get ready for work, hashtag real life, hashtag the struggle, but that's pretty much it for my kitchen tour. I did want to tell you one more little tip, and that is when you are storing your pots and pans, which I do in the drawer underneath my oven, you should really narrow it down to the ones that you just use on an everyday or every week basis. I know that when you go buy a set of pans, sometimes they have like that big box set that has like 24 pans and lids and spatulas in there, and that can be great if you have the room and if you use all of those, but I find that I really only use about 5 or 6 pans, so that is what I keep and that is what I'm able to store under my oven. So it's a lot easier to stay organized and to keep track of all the lids because I only have the bare necessities, and that's something I really recommend, particularly if you have a smaller space. Keep what you use what you have. It makes things so much simpler. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see a what's in my fridge tour, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in a video very soon. Bye.